Welcome back. You're listening to Become a Bat. This is the 38th episode. I'm your host, Tom.
And I'm Mike.
And we're coming up on the Christmas season. So we're going to pre-announce next week. We're going to do a special Christmas episode. We're going to do like a regular episode, but pull double duty. So we'll have a special holiday episode ready for it. And I don't know, Christmas has always been kind of like a weird, I think almost more so than Halloween. Like Christmas is very like a Batman-y holiday.
Yeah, I think they both are, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of Christmas Batman stories. I think because Batman's an outsider and he doesn't have a family except for Robin, so they can play up the tragedy element on Christmas better.
Yeah. I mean, he made his own family, but he's still like always just kind of, even with his own like gigantic family, which is bigger than Superman's, he's always kind of like still an outsider.
Yeah. I like Batman Christmas stories though, because snow is very isolating and it always snows in Gotham.
Yeah. I always think of that very like iconic Alex Ross photo.
Yeah.
Photo artwork where he's like, outside the window. And there's just like the warm, like the Justice League inside having a Christmas party.
Yeah. Actually, I was telling Kelsey, I used to have a collection about 2 inches thick of like DC and Marvel Christmas specials.
Ooh.
I don't know what happened to them all. They were really fun to read.
So that will be next week as we approach closer to the holidays. Or not next week, or maybe on Christmas. I'll see when I post it. But our regular episode will be a regular time.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get into this week's episodes or stories. I can never get it straight. I was at the comic shop today, and I was like looking at an issue, and I was asking when like the next issue of Dark Crisis was coming out, and I called it an episode. Like, so even when I'm talking about the books,
You're getting old.
I am getting old. This week we're covering Batman number 10, Story 2, Report Card Blues, and Detective Comics number 70, The Man Who Could Read Minds.
I like both of these quite a bit, by the way.
Yeah.
But The Man Who Could Read Minds was definitely more up my alley.
yeah. I was like, oh man, Mike got. I gave you the choice.
I like the one that I picked. I picked it for a reason, and I'll get into that.
Okay, yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So with that all said, let's get to this week's episodes. Damn it.
All right, this is Batman number 10, story number 2, Report Card Blues. Art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russos. Written by George Green.
Nope. Joseph Green.
Joseph Green.
Yep, that was my fault.
We were just talking about that too.
Yeah. Oh, so last week I said I was gonna pull up little bios on it. I think we already covered. It was Joseph Green. So we already covered him. He did Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, and I think he has a brother named George. I don't remember, but we have covered him. So. But we have another writer on the next episode, which we'll cover.
Yep. So we don't have to go over the cover. I'll describe the splash page here, and then you can read the thing. So
yeah,
this splash page is a kid sitting down, trying to study for school, and daydreaming about Batman and Robin beating the crap out of thugs. That's like really all there is to it.
Like we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? Now I'm looking at it like it does the giant person and small Batman Robin, but it does it in a way that like makes sense. It's he's they're not actually small. It's just in his little daydream.
Well, and did you notice in that little panel in the corner, which is technically the first panel of the book, he has like a little like photograph or like poster of Batman silhouetted by the moon.
Yeah, he's a Batman fanboy.
Yeah, that's why I picked this story, because like I initially didn't try very hard at school, and I got moderately okay/bad grades because I was always daydreaming and drawing pictures of Batman and stuff. So I was like, I gotta do this one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. All right.
Although the kid's name is Tommy.
Yeah, that I didn't know that going in. They use Tommy and Mike a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let me do this one. All right. Little Tommy didn't like to go to school. He played hooky. He didn't study. He got bad report cards. Tommy was a real bad boy. So when report card day came, Tommy took it on the lam. He beat it to the big town and ran smack into trouble, right up to his necktie. But when Tommy took the high road, he met those roving crime busters, Batman and Robin, who soon showed the error of his ways in this story of the Report Card Blues.
Tommy was a bad boy. It's so good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. FYI, this synopsis could have gotten very long because there's a lot of stuff happening in it. I tried to keep it down, so I'm leaving a lot of details out. So if you're listening and you like this one, you definitely have to read it because there's a lot of stuff I left out.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get the point across. So, all right. Little Tommy Trent wakes up to the sound of his mom yelling that he's late for school. He gets dressed and grabs his stuff, then heads out. As he leaves, his mom tells him not to play hooky again today like he did the day before. If his father found out about it, and he's going to be in big trouble tonight when he gets home. At school, his teacher tells everyone that they will be receiving their report cards tomorrow. Tommy knows it's going to spell bad news for him when his parents get it. When he gets home from school, his dad is already there. He sternly tells Tommy that this time, if he gets bad grades, instead of beating the crap out of him, he's just going to ground him from playing with his friends after school.
At that point, you just want to get the beating so you can still do what you want to do.
That's exactly what Tommy's thinking. He's like, I wish he would just beat me, then I could still have fun. After Tommy goes to his room, he tries to think about what to do about his report card situation. He decides that the only thing to do is to run away. Later that night, he sneaks down the stairs with a small bag of his belongings. He stares longingly at his parents for a few minutes and then dashes out the door into the cold night. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Batman and Robin arrive on the scene where a group of goons are busy trying to blow up someone's store as part of a protection racket. They go straight to work punching and kicking the men into oblivion, but then they get carried away and forget about the bomb that the men had planted. The bomb explodes, shattering the windows and the brick walls, and the dynamic duo take the brunt of the impact. After some time, our heroes are able to pull themselves together and from the wreckage. A police officer shows up, and they pass along the description of the goons and their getaway vehicle. The goons are trying to make a clean getaway, but they hear on the radio a description of their vehicle, so they pull over into a dark alley, and they cover up the sign on the side with a different sign and throw some butcher aprons on over their clothes.
It was, that's a pretty clever way to get away.
It was a bread truck, now it's a butcher truck.
Yep.
But the problem is, he also described the number of people in the vehicle, right? The men close in on the bridge to freedom, but there's cops stopping and checking all the cars, so they act fast. One of them sees a young Tommy hitchhiking on the side of the road and offers him a ride as a way to make them seem less suspicious. As the cops approach the vehicle, they notice that it's not the same type of vehicle. It's not a bread vehicle, it's a butcher vehicle, and there's an extra passenger, so the number of men don't add up, and they let them pass. As soon as they're past the checkpoint, they completely drop the act in front of Tommy and toss him forcefully into the back of the truck. Lying in the back of the bread truck, aka butcher truck, Tommy fears for his life, so he starts shoving rolls out through a hole in the door in an attempt to leave a trail behind. Smart kid. Soon the goons arrive at a florist. They drag Tommy along and head to the back room to talk to the boss, who promptly tells them to just shoot the kid, put him in a bag, and toss him in the lake. Brutal. Lucky for Tommy, Batman and Robin spotted the rolls and followed the trail all the way to the florist. They burst into the room right as one of the goons is about to shoot Tommy and start throwing fists. They manage to take out everyone except for the boss, who then takes Tommy hostage at gunpoint and ties Batman and Robin's arms and legs together. The boss takes Tommy with him and some goons to go collect their protection money and leaves one man behind to guard the heroes. Batman tricks the man into going to check the front door by claiming he hears a sound and suggests that it's the police. When the man gets back, he doesn't realize that there's a plant in the room. Sorry. That's been moved closer to the chair. And after a few minutes of sitting next to the plant, I wrote plant instead of plant, it explodes into ripe seeds, making the man temporarily blind. They were really grasping at straws when they wrote that scene, but it's okay. A plant explodes conveniently because it's next to a heater, and then the seeds fly out and hit the guy in the face and blind him.
I meant to look up to see if the science behind that was sound, but
it might be. I think it's still reaching.
It's probably
too convenient.
Yeah, it's probably there's a reaction, but it's not that violent.
Yeah, they could have done something better. That's the only weak spot in this book, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Batman and Robin grab the ledger of the protection racket off the nearby table, and they run to meet up with the men. Oh gosh, I just lost my spot. They run to meet up with the men at the next location on the racket, the barber shop and the penny arcade. They split up. The next two stops on their they split up the next two stops on the list. Robin interrupts the men at the barber shop and then proceeds to humiliate them with random objects around the room, which is pretty comical, but I'm not going to describe all of them. Batman does the exact same thing at the arcade. They finish off their goons in these locations and then head for the next stop on the list, the department store. Unfortunately, the men at that location were expecting them already and had made plans to surround them with guns when they arrive. But as is usually the case, luck smiles upon them. Young Tommy is with the third group of goons. He hears their plan and quickly wraps a bandana around his head, or wraps a. What is wrong with me today? It's because I'm laughing too much because I enjoy this story. He hears their plans and he quickly takes a bandana and wraps it around an arrow that he finds in the department store. He sets the bandana on fire and then grabs a bow and shoots the flaming bandana into the ceiling right next to a fire sprinkler. Somehow nobody notices. Batman and Robin burst in. The men stand armed, ready to shoot, but suddenly the sprinklers erupt and start raining down, and an ear-splitting fire alarm goes off. The goons are caught by surprise, and the dynamic duo sees the opportunity to rain down some punches. You like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Even,
clever wordplay.
even Tommy joins in the fray, biting a goon in the leg brutally. Backup arrives in the shape of firemen. They help our heroes dispatch the goons. They actually use axes to dispatch the goons, which I thought was pretty messed up.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Yeah. The police show up then and take them away. Batman and Robin walk Tommy home and ask him how he knew how to set off the sprinklers with heat. He said that his civics teacher in school taught him that. Then he explained to them why he ran away. The dynamic duo told him that he's a smart kid and a quick thinker, and that anyone who reacts like that in such a situation is definitely capable of better grades. Tommy sneaks back into his room, and then the next morning he rushes downstairs early, ready for school. He's happy to see his mom, and she wonders what came over him that changed him. Whatever it is, she tells him that she's happy for it, as Tommy runs off to school and says that he will never play hooky again. The end. I kind of butchered that one a little bit in a couple spots, but I really like this issue. I thought it was really like darkly funny. And also for some reason, I always like stories where there's like a kid who's like roped into something dangerous and then like uses his own cunning to get himself out of it. Although Batman and Robin did come in and save the day.
Yeah. It's definitely very like weird since like there's, like violent things, people die in these.
Yeah.
And there's just a kid there and he's like, yeah, this kid could get killed.
This story very easily could have been like those other stories that we like so much where it focuses around like someone else besides Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Because it did focus around Tommy for quite a while. But then as soon as they come into it, it's just a typical Batman story.
Yeah. It's like he's the POV. Batman and Robin are in there and then they leave and it's back to him.
Yeah. It would have been cool because like he did the rolls. He left the rolls behind. And then he used the arrow to set off the sprinklers. It would have been cool to see him do some more of that kind of stuff to set him up and be like, look, like Robin's not that special. There are other kids out there who are like instinctive and smart and can hold their own. But they didn't quite go that far. But I still really enjoyed it.
No, getting a pep talk from Batman would definitely make you change your ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if he said that you were really smart.
Yeah.
And like, you'd be like, I'm gonna be Batman. Any thoughts?
Nothing too hard on this one. I mean, it's just a light, breezy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like the comedy in the story. Like, we'll get to that in the panels. But other than that, I didn't bring up any interesting things. You said you had something about this one.
Oh, I was just saying that I chose this story because I empathize.
Okay, yeah.
Because like that was me like for a while, not getting good grades. I came to the realization that I needed to get better grades on my own. Yeah. Not because my parents were gonna beat me or ground me or anything like that, but still like, fantasizing about Batman and getting moderately bad grades at school.
The only thing this made me like think of hard on was that sounds wrong. The only thing this made me like think like a lot about was like at the end when he's like going down like the stairs and he's got like this little that leather belt that holds like the books. Yeah. Like, did people have those? I think so. I think the only other like time I've seen that is like the Munsters with Eddie Munster.
Yeah, that was a thing.
For a while. It's just like that doesn't seem very like good to hold. Like I don't. Yeah. I guess maybe you're just supposed to just bundle them up and hold them up like a stack of them, but I don't know. Like the belt was always kind of like, like it seems like they want you to hold on to the belt itself and like let the books dangle, but yeah. I don't know.
You could probably throw it over your shoulder and hold it, but that's all prior to backpacks being a thing.
Yeah, backpacks really saved things.
It didn't save your back though.
No. I mean, it just moved the pain from another place, but at least you can use your hands to do stuff.
Backpacks, moving the plane to another place.
Yeah.
Since whenever they were created.
So let's do the panels.
Yeah. There's quite a few good panels in this one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I uploaded my panels.
You did, because like I would have picked pretty much all the same ones.
Yeah. It's not a long story, so like there's not too much to go on, but
Yeah.
it's got some good ones. So why did you pick this one though?
What
The
do you
first one.
think? Because it's his dad. Okay, so like when he gets home or when he wakes up in the morning, his mom is like, "You better not get bad grades, or your dad's gonna be very unhappy when he gets home."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh no!" And then he gets home and he has bad grades, and his dad basically says like, "I'm not gonna beat the crap out of you this time. I'm just gonna ground you instead."
Did you ever watch Moral Oral?
No.
You still have HBO, right?
Yeah, I do.
Like I'm pretty sure it's on the HBO. That's how I watch it all.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it because they play up. It's a parody of Davy and Goliath.
Oh, okay.
But
That'll be
like
funny.
it's really dark
Yeah.
and like the first few episodes, it's like haha, look how like silly it is. Like I mean, it's dark, but
Yeah.
then it gets into some like really like realistic dark places.
Oh, sounds good.
But yeah, this is totally like his dad. Like you know, every time Moral, his name is Oral. Every time he does like something wrong, you know, like at the end of the episode, he gets a spanking and like meet me in my study, and he gets spanked a lot. And yeah,
Yep.
but you gotta watch it. It's so good. You could binge the whole thing in like
Oh,
an
I'm sure I
afternoon.
will. But yeah, I love this panel for a couple reasons. One, because his dad is like being so brutal, and the kid's just like, "Gee," you know, like
Yeah.
that's it. All you gotta say is "Gee," and then the mom in the background, she's like walking away. All you can see is her face, and like, is that the face of like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have told his dad that he got bad grades because he's gonna beat him," or
Yeah.
is that the face of like, "Oh, he's not gonna beat him this time"?
Whew. Yeah, there's definitely some implications there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some secrets.
There's a lot of this type stuff, like this next panel in this issue, which I love.
Yeah, that they definitely ramped up the silly faces.
Yeah, Batman is punching Speedbag into a guy's face, and he's like, "Hard enough," and then like he's doing that thing with the tongue
Mm-hmm.
flying out and like the stars around his head.
Yeah, they were definitely watching like Three Stooges.
Yep. And then like this isn't the next panel, but the next panel after this, it looks like the exact same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just picking on this one guy.
Yeah, some of those like faces they ride this fine line between being like they're in serious pain, but it's goofy, but also like they're loving it. Like this guy like definitely has like a I love this face. He's having the time of his life.
I wonder how many thugs in Gotham City are like seriously hate Batman and want him dead versus how many are just like when Batman shows up, they're like, "Hell yeah, time to throw down."
Yeah,
And
like,
then they like partially get off on getting their ass kicked by Batman and Robin.
yeah, Batman's like, oh man, I gotta do something about these guys.
There's like a support group for thugs who like to get beat up by Batman and Robin.
Yeah, if he doesn't break your neck, it's amazing.
Yeah. This next panel I picked purely for aesthetics.
Yeah, that's
You
just
can see why. It's like
yeah.
car speeding down the street and it's pouring down rain and the whole thing is done in silhouette.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Sin City, like when the way Frank Miller draws the rain. It's just like
Mhm.
a bunch of like long, elongated like hatch lines.
Yeah,
It's really cool. It's really, really moody. And
It's
it's
on a-
all blue and yellow.
on the bridge, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the one I was just referencing.
Yeah, like this one I put in there, or if you did,
Yeah.
regardless, we both would have.
Dude, like Batman's punching things into people, punching people through things, and then like smashing things on people constantly in this issue.
Yep.
But did you see my little comment on the bottom of this one?
I don't see a comment. No.
No, right below the plant one.
Oh, the panel was on the cover of the issue.
So remember we were looking at the cover of this issue and we were like, are these panels from another
Oh,
one? And I
yeah.
thought they were because of this specific
Mm.
one. Because Robin does do this in another issue.
Yeah.
But this series, like this page is the one that's on the cover.
Okay, that's
right?
cool. That's we spotted it. Good.
Yeah.
Good catch there.
Yep. I recognized it immediately because he says, "Mind if I plant this on you?" Wow, what a bad pun.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it almost looks like Batman is looking in asking the audience this question, like, where's our flower sniffing friend Milo? But like he's looking at the audience while asking them.
I like it though. But like
Yeah.
obviously he's like looking around the room trying to find the next guy to beat the crap out of.
Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, this one was definitely chosen because of Tommy like biting the kids. I mean, the guy's
It's such a great face.
yeah.
Tommy looks like such a little gangster with his haircut and everything, like the way he's drawn.
Yeah.
But man, so good.
He's kind of very Archie like. Like
Yeah, it's
Archie is like a 6-year-old.
Archie is like Archie if Archie was one of those little like gangster kids that went to that school for boys from that previous issue where Robin goes to that school for crime boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those little hoodlums.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh yeah, this one looks like we did the whole sequence, but I love the one with Batman holding the little cap the cap rifle thing at the
Yeah.
at the Penny Arcade.
The whole sequence is so freaking good.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, Batman hurls this guy into like one of the like the shooting gallery at the Penny Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Like he throws him like he's a baseball, one
Yeah.
handed. And then the guy's like sitting there right below target, and Batman just pulls out an air rifle and just like ping, 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 and just like shoots a circle around him just to prove that he could kill him if he wanted to, I guess.
Yeah, Batman is a crack shot when he wants to be. And it's like, yeah, more comedy.
Don't you love that last panel though? When he throws the guy into the fortune machine and then he pulls up the fortune and it says, "A tall, dark man will enter your life and cause you much trouble."
Yes. It's perfect.
So good.
So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll do Detective Comics number 70. The Man Who Could Read Minds.
Good title.
Yeah, that is an excellent title. All right, so this is Detective Comics number 70, The Man Who Could Read Minds. It's the December 1942 issue. Art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, George Roussos, and it's written by Don Cameron. So I got a quick bio up on Don Cameron. So he was a Golden Age comic book writer. Let's see. He started as a Detroit Free Press reporter in the 1920s. So I think he's crime reporter. Pretty neat going in from a crime reporter to like writing crime stories.
Writing crime fiction.
Yeah. Gives him like an upper leg on like the actual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. In the early 40s, he started not quite successfully writing for pulps, so I guess it didn't work out for him. See, several novels. Like these are cool titles though. Murder's Coming,
Mm-hmm.
Grave Without Grass, and So He Had to Die.
That's a long title.
Yeah,
It's good though. I like it.
those are good titles, but they also sound like okay, they're real, but like they sound like titles like fake books.
Yeah, Grave Without Grass is great because it means that he's not actually buried. He's probably just thrown into the river or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he published. Oh, okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so he wrote some stories for Fawcett Comics, and so he wrote Batman scripts for Batman, Detective Comics, and supposedly created the Penguin, though it's never been confirmed. So me and Mike were speculating that he probably wrote it, and then Bob Kane like took the credit.
Yeah.
Because yeah, this is like his favorite. Let's see. So he also created Liberty Bell for Boy Commandos, and continued to the feature in Star Spangled Comics for several years, receiving a rare byline. Wow. So for Action Comics, he wrote Vigilante, Congo Bill, and Zatara scripts, and then some Superboy, Johnny Quick, and let's see how he ended up. He died of cancer in 1954.
It's early.
Yeah, that's early for him. Damn. All right. Well, we're gonna read one of his stories now.
I kind of want to read one of his actual serialized novels.
If you could find them, I mean, there's so
I can
much.
find them. I'll find them.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff that's like lost to time. So The Man Who Could Read Brains. So let's get in the cover.
I love this cover.
This is a great cover, and it directly happens in the story.
Oh, it does exactly like this.
Yeah.
My only criticism of the cover is that like Batman's not wearing like a thing over his head, but he also doesn't have oxygen tank on. I thought he did, but he's just got an acetylene torch on his back.
Yeah. I mean, it was a spur of the moment thing.
It was, so it works.
Yeah.
I love this cover so much, though. There's so much to like about it.
It's so pulpy and like adventurous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like actiony. Like
I'll describe it. It's I guess technically it's a blue cover, but like none of the actual cover color is shown except for above the Detective Comics banner.
I like the Batman's like over the comics part.
You also like how they put the name of the story on the front now.
Yeah. Huh.
In quotes.
Yep.
But yeah, so it's Robin is in a bathysphere, which if you don't know what a bathysphere is, it's like a little circular underwater like vehicle that you can get in with a giant window so you can like see like underwater life. So he's in one of those and there's no air because they disassembled the air part of it or whatever. So he's suffocating. He's like grabbing at his throat like and then Batman is on top with an acetylene torch holding on to like the little cord that suspends it underwater and connects it to the ship. And he's trying to cut a hole into the bathysphere so he can get Robin out. But everything around them is like black because they're so deep underwater. And there's these fish swimming around and there's like a sunken ship and like a treasure chest and just like cool like algae growing out of the water. It's really, really awesome looking.
Ironic. I wonder if that's the treasure that he was looking for.
Yeah, maybe. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be really funny. But look, you can actually see like right across Batman's leg the oxygen hose coming out of the
Hmm.
bathysphere and all the little bubbles coming out of it.
Yep.
So some
This
good
is not even
attention
the
to
first
detail.
time. Like Robin keeps getting it. Like I remember, like just like last episode, not last episode, but in Batman #9, the Moby Dick one.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were in like underwater and they had to like shoot him a torpedo.
it's probably like really panicking right now. Then
Yeah.
a lot of these villains and Batman and Robin themselves have a lot of issues with being like underwater and like almost dying.
Yeah. Though he had a pretty good plan. Like this guy was he's actually pretty smart for what he did.
I like this villain a
Yeah.
lot, and I kind of wish he could have been an earlier villain.
Hmm.
You know, because he reminds me a lot of like those mad scientist villains.
Yeah, he definitely like if I didn't know better, like he looked like Hugo Strange.
Yeah, he's definitely like
Yeah.
a throwback to that, like a throwback to like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, to that type of villain.
So the splash page is excellent. It's Batman and okay, it's been like a week, so I forget his name. Carlo. Carlo is their villain, and they're both staring at each other. It's their side profiles, and like they're staring daggers. You know, there's a little lightning bolt, like show like mental action, and they're both imagining like a fight that they're doing, and it's like a physical fight, and Batman is punching. He's doing an uppercut to Carlo. Carlo is letting go of a knife. Oh, oh my God!
We were just talking
How
about
the
that.
hell?
Oh my God.
Wow, that is weird. Okay,
Ah.
yeah, okay. Well, we were talking about Hall & Oates earlier today.
Yeah, I
just
was
out of the
listening to
blue.
that album too.
Yeah, the cover of H2O. I'm gonna put this on Twitter.
You should.
Yeah, like so the cover of H2O is John Hall and Oates,
Daryl.
Daryl Oates. They're both like heavily staring at each other against a red background.
Yeah.
Very sweaty. Great cover.
Yeah, you sent me the Final Fight cover
Yeah.
for Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I sent you Batman v Superman. But then it's right here.
Oh my God. Yeah, like so I was like this reminds me of something. Like I realized it was like the Final Fight cover.
Yeah.
But I googled the Final Fight cover and I'm like it's kind of similar but not the same. Now we're looking at this and it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yep, that's great.
That is perfect. Do you want to read the little
course.
the thingy?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Let me drink some bubbly water here. Okay. Have you ever wished that you could read minds? Guess the innermost secrets of your fellow man? Imagine what you could do if you had the power, what knowledge you could possess. This is the story of a mortal who wrestled from fate this uncanny gift for reading minds, and uses it for dark deeds. Armed with this miraculous power, he becomes the greatest foe ever to challenge the mighty Batman and Robin. For here is a man who can guess his opponent's every plan, anticipate every move, strike as fast as they can think. He is the man who could read minds.
Very good.
All he needs is like the musculature of Hugo Strange, and he'd be an
Yeah.
unstoppable foe.
Yeah, Hugo Strange would have definitely like if he was Hugo Strange and he could read minds,
Mhm.
Batman would have been done.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So, all right, let's get into the synopsis. Our story begins at the Gotham City Theater. Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are attending the show for Carlo, the man who could read minds. Audience members are holding up items, and a blindfolded Carlo is walking around and he's able to correctly guess what they're holding. Dick is amazed, but Bruce reveals that they were plants and they gave away clues to what they were holding as they asked him. So Carlo, after the show, Carlo's driving home in the rain and his car loses control and he crashes into a billboard, ironically the one advertising his act. And the billboard then gets struck by lightning. So he's rushed to the hospital and for surgery, and it's still storming outside, and while he's on the operating table, the lights go out, and the doctor is unsure if his scalpel slipped or not. The story doesn't actually make it clear if it does, so maybe not. But it seems that the surgery was a success. As Carlo recovers, he comes to realize that he came out even better than when he was before the incident, as he is able to read people's minds for real. I think the implication was that the scalpel probably slipped on a part of the brain
Mm-hmm.
and just like activated like telepathy.
That's totally what they're trying to say.
Yeah. It could have either been like the accident and like the lightning bolt or the scalpel, but
Yeah, I
or
mean,
all of them.
all the above.
Yeah. So it seems a surgery success. He's able to recover. Anyway, um, he tests out his new ability by clearing out a poker game and then winning a radio quiz show, which gets him thinking, why not use his new powers for crime? Obviously.
Yeah, that's what everybody does.
Yep. A few days later, Batman and Robin are out on patrol when they notice an apartment getting burgled. They get in to find a masked Carlo breaking into a safe that he was able to figure out the combination of through reading the owner's mind. They jump in and spook Carlo. He runs off, but then he reads Batman's mind and lets him know that he knows he's Bruce Wayne. He threatens to expose him to the world unless he stops following him. Batman is stunned, and Carlo gets away. The next day, Bruce and Dick are at home, and Bruce realizes that the masked man was Carlo based on his voice. They go to his show, and they see that he's using his show to learn his audience's secrets. They get home, and Bruce gets a package. He opens it, and a bat flies out with a note telling them that he knows they were in the audience and to back off, or he'll reveal their secrets to the world. Also, he reveals he's going to Miser's Isle to find out where the treasure is of a man named Old Pete when he hit it.
I can't believe he stole Batman's thing.
I know that
Put
was
in a bat in a box.
that was so good.
Yeah.
Such a clever twist. Like, how do you like that, Batman? So Batman and Robin are conflicted, but they know that they can't let Carlo get away with his crimes. So they put on their costumes for the last time and get to action. They get in a plane and I said drive to Miser's Island. They fly to Miser's Island.
They drive their plane.
Yeah. Carlo sensed that they were coming and tripped them on their way into a room. He pulls out a gun and Batman deflects it with a shield that he picked up on the wall. Carlo throws the gun at Robin's head. Carlo and the Dark Knight duel with sabers. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Carlo lures Batman to a spot and drops him down a secret trap door. He realizes that throwing Robin down the hole would be a bad idea because they could just help each other out. So he decides to take him outside and lock him up inside of the bathysphere, hanging out by his boat. Also, bathysphere, bat-isphere, yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, at the bottom of the hole, Batman uses a whip, some lamp oil, and some wheels, and some basic physics to escape the hole. More of that, like, using, like, basic physics and, like, educational stuff.
Yep.
He gets out to find Carlo on the other side of the glass wall with old Pete tied up to a chair. Batman realizes that Robin must be in danger. Carlo notices Batman. He grabs two wires and puts them together in an effort to set off an explosion. Carlo runs off, and Batman uses a diamond-encrusted batarang to cut through the bulletproof glass. He disconnects the wires and saves old Pete. Batman rushes out to find Carlo by the boat. They struggle, and Carlo cuts the cable holding up the bathysphere. It falls to the bottom of the ocean. Batman knocks the acetylene torch out of Carlo's hand and dives down and uses it to free Robin before he suffocates. Carlo is about to throw down an anchor to try to kill Batman when old Pete shoots Carlo. Carlo falls into the sea. In his dying moment, he commits one last spiteful act. He uses a stick to write, "Batman is really Bruce Wayne" in the sand on the beach. The next day, Batman and the police find Carlo's body ashore, with the tide having luckily washed away Bruce's name. Their identities are safe. Batman and Robin fly home. The end.
Two thoughts here. One, why do they have to name him Carlo? It sounds like he's Clayface.
I know. That's a confusing
It's
thing.
spelled with a C instead of a K, but still. I guess it's because he's a throwback to older, more monstrous villains, maybe, but
They could have used another name.
yeah. And two, like the way his powers work, it's like he doesn't even have to try. Like he's not an expert sword fighter as far as we know,
Mhm.
right? But he's able to hold his own against Batman, who is an expert. So it's like he can see things so far in advance that there's absolutely no way he couldn't deflect the hit. Even though Batman's way stronger than this guy.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think even if you know, like, okay, he's gonna do like a right hook next time, like, I think in a sword fight, like, if I know what move my opponent's gonna do, I don't think it's necessarily gonna mean I'm gonna be able to like do well because I'm not a sword fighter.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
his power of telepathy somehow makes him good at everything.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I guess that's just how this works in this universe.
it just reminds me of, and I can't think of which character it is right now, but there's a character whose ability is luck, and so therefore like nothing can hurt them. Like, because if someone fires a bullet at them like point blank,
Domino?
the gun's just gonna like jam and blow up in their face
Mhm.
instead. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those like you don't even have to try powers, which I think is always hilarious to try to write a story around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this one because that.
I loved his death scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just awesome.
I also love the shape of his head.
Mhm.
Everything about this guy, his beady little eyes and his glasses that make it look like he's wearing like those X-ray specs.
Yeah, yeah.
His massive overbite. His teeth all have like gaps between them, and then his head looks like it's so elongated on the back that it's gonna like fall over backwards.
Yeah, like his hat looks like it's got to like he's got to like tug it in because it like just slips and falls off.
Yeah,
He doesn't wear
like
it right.
he's like deformed, especially if you look at like the later panels where he pulls the gun on Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Like his head being like his central feature actually makes sense for a guy who can read minds, and I'm sure
Mhm.
like he capitalized on that for his act when he was like thinking it up back in the day.
Yeah, it looks like he has a comically oversized brain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep. I was thinking I thought this was the first episode. Well, this isn't the first time somebody figures out Batman and Robin's secret identities,
right.
but it's the first time like they actually knew it for real, remember?
Yeah,
Because there was that one gangster in I don't even remember how many episodes ago. He deduced it, but he never like confirmed.
right.
And then when Batman and Robin realized it, they came up with that plan. You remember
Yep.
the mannequin of Bruce? Yeah,
That was pretty comical too.
that was pretty funny. But this was the first time someone like just straight up knows for real,
Yep.
and like yeah, it just couldn't be tricked out of it. So
But
like
nobody would believe him because no one knows that he has real telepathy. Because real telepathy is not a thing except for this guy.
no, but I think he could have exposed him, and like there would have been like an investigation.
Yeah.
And I mean, like honestly, you think okay, yeah, if you don't know who Batman is and you didn't think about it, and you're like a Gotham, and somebody reveals, oh, yeah, it's Bruce Wayne, you think about it for like 10 minutes, you're like, oh yeah, duh.
I like that like he died and his death meant nothing. You know, like he like wrote it out there on the sand and then the water washed it away. But it would also would have been cool if when he died, the police showed up, saw it, and then the next issue or the next story was like an investigation and Batman had to do all these ridiculous things to cover it up and make it seem like he's not.
That would be
Wayne.
like a Dexter.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, something some that definitely like the way this ends is very like of the time pulp.
Yeah.
But what you described would definitely be like a modern day like
Yeah.
this guy would be like the villain of the season of Dexter or something like
Right.
that, and then like that would be the last cliffhanger at the end to like make you want to watch the next season.
That'd be a really funny Batman miniseries. The first issue, the villain dies really early on and exposes him, and then like the next two issues is him just trying to cover it up and make it look like he's not Batman.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
because you're like, they have a whole series left. How are they gonna like go on with this?
All his plans to cover it up just keep failing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been great.
Yep. All right. So you pretty much described the first panel,
Okay.
which is just him in his car with his like beady eyes, and it's just awesome.
I like how he's saying, "Boy, if only I could read minds," and then boom,
Mm-hmm.
you can.
Yep. And then the next one I chose is of it's just kind of out of nowhere, but it's awesome.
I love it too. I would have picked it. I did pick it. You
Yeah.
just already had it on here.
Yeah, it's Death, like the skeleton is just like hand. It says I can't remember what the panel was before it, but it says, "But will he? For fate's tricky fingers have slyly guided the surgeon's scalpel during that momentary blackout." Okay, so yeah,
It was asking if he was going to survive.
yeah,
know?
yeah, but it's just kind of like out of nowhere, just kind of like with death, and well, I guess it's fate, not death.
Same thing. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's fate is death eventually.
that is true. Doom and destiny.
Yep, one and the same.
Yep. But anyways, it's just it's like there's no framing device showing him like throughout the thing. It's just kind of random to me, but it's cool.
I like this next panel too. I would have picked it too because
Mhm.
he's just being a dick to these guys.
He's being a dick. I did it more for the artwork. I really like this coloring scheme.
The art in this panel is great. It's
Yeah.
really good. Like the lighting on all the guys is orange, and like the spotlight, and then the sign being pink. Like it's very realistically lit.
Yeah.
And then you got Bruce and Dick in the front row too.
Mm-hmm.
But and like notice the other two people in the front row are all blacked out because they're not important at all.
Yeah. The sign that says Carlo the Amazing really makes me want to get some like C's candy or something.
Yeah, it does look like that. It reminds me of a certain candy bar. I just like can't think of what it is right now.
It's just it's obviously like 40s style candy.
But I love that he's like so cocky right now that he's just like, tell me, I'm gonna guess your thoughts, but don't think anything about anything valuable. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, he's just
Like,
obviously like bring it to the front of your brain.
yeah, that's his whole MO is like to like trick you into thinking about what he wants you to think about so that he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he obviously knows Bruce and Dick are there, and it's just like I got something hilarious planned for them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just having the time of his life. This would have been a good day for him if Batman and Robin didn't have a spine.
Yeah. You picked this shot right here. I picked the other shot. I didn't put it in here because I didn't want to do both, but
Yeah.
I picked the shot of the bat plane flying towards the reader, and you picked the one of it flying away. They're both really damn good.
Mm-hmm.
The sky's all purple, and it's like cloudy and probably about to rain.
Yeah,
And the bat plane just looks freaking awesome in these
Yeah.
pictures.
I want to know more about Old Pete. He's just like this recluse who owns an island in the middle of Gotham, and just like he's got this big glass dome and
Mm-hmm.
a trap door.
Maybe old Pete is like a pre-Batman supervillain who gave up on a life of crime because he made enough money to where he could just buy his own private island,
Yeah,
and everybody would leave him alone.
statute of limitations like expired, and
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, I'm done.
You should write a story about old Pete where Batman discovers a bunch of old news clippings about him.
That would be cool. Yeah, like if Batman was around like 20 years earlier, he would have
Right.
definitely been.
Maybe old Pete is Thomas Wayne's rival.
Oh yeah, he knew
'Cause
Thomas Wayne.
in like the Silver Age Batman origin story, Thomas Wayne did dress up as Batman for that party and like
Mhm.
save the day, but he was also slightly a little bit of a vigilante too.
Hmm.
You know?
I remember that Grant Morrison used that as a big thing for Batman R.I.P.
Yeah, I'm glad he did because that's awesome
Yeah.
stuff.
So in the next panel, we chose is old Pete, not old Pete, Carlo tripping Batman and Robin. Yeah, that's just fantastic. He's like, I knew you'd be coming here.
It would have been funny. I mean, it's already funny, but it would have been funnier if Batman was like, "We're here to, like say something, like we're here to kick your ass," or like,
Yeah,
"You're going down," and then gets tripped immediately as soon as he walks in the front door.
yeah, it's just one step ahead of him.
Yep, and then he pulls a gun on him, but not just like any gun, like an old school like pirate pistol.
Yeah, like almost a flintlock.
Yep.
Like it's all metal. And then Robin's like, put the gun down or whatever. Like, I don't remember what Robin said to incite him, but then Carlo throws the gun at Robin's head.
Yep.
Oh, that's so funny.
We talked about previously how Robin's got to have some serious brain damage from all those concussions because
Mhm.
he's always getting hit directly in the head with heavy objects.
Yeah, I think more so than Jason.
Maybe that's the true thing that sets them apart is all the blows to the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dick had it built up over like a career.
Right. And Jason, it all just happened at once.
Yeah. So the next one is Robin at the bottom of the ocean with in the bathysphere, and again, I don't know how to describe art in too many ways. But it's just great. It's just really nice.
Yeah. This is the cover right here.
Yeah.
He's holding his throat. But yeah, this is colored very similarly to the theater one that you were just like showing, where like everything is mostly dark. It's like black. And then all the details of the bathysphere are done in like this purple, and it's just like the shadowy parts.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And then okay, the last one I chose is the final, well, not the final panel, but just about where the cops and Batman arrive on the island. And looking at it, like just Batman is he's in a silhouette. This very much like if I didn't know better, it feels very Frank Miller-y.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of like fatter and just kind of like
No,
beefier.
I totally saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely looks more like that Frank Miller Batman.
it's pretty cool.
Actually, I noticed that earlier because I was talking about it too. Like I was going on and on about Frank Miller Batman and All Star Batman.
Frank Miller once said that his version of Batman is the Adam West Batman. I'm like, how? But like looking at this, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see it.
I don't think I know he said that, but like
Yeah.
I don't think that his version is the Adam West Batman. I think his version is the version that inspired Adam West. It's the Batman from this era of comic books.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly reading these and being like, oh, that feels just like the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just injected that like dark, like dirty, hairy Sin City element
Yeah.
into Batman, but he looks and acts still very much like this Batman.
Yeah. Basically, if these comics weren't like meant for kids to read, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Which they could have been. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Dick Tracy meets Batman from this era. Dick
Mhm.
Tracy was very violent and gory.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we got down to our last two. Did you do these ones?
Yeah. I
Kind of
put
out
this
of
in
order.
here.
Okay.
So the first one I put in there, obviously, because it's Batman and Robin on a rooftop. And like, remember I told you every time Batman puts his hand on Robin's shoulder, I love it. I just think it's like something that never happens anymore in comic books. Like they're
No.
basically best friends, brothers, and father and son. But
Mhm.
Batman never puts his hand on the shoulder. Come
Yeah.
on. They stopped doing that in like the 90s. But I like it in this old comic. And then, and also like the moon, obviously, silhouetting Batman's head. Come on. And then the last one, it's just so badass. It's like during the sword fight, like after, dude, what's his name again?
Carlo.
Carlo.
I know.
Stupid
Well,
Carlo.
it doesn't seem like it's his name because
No, it really doesn't.
It's Basil. That's
So
why.
yeah, like after Carlo like knocks the sword out of Batman's hand, Batman grabs a whip off a wall, and then he's like, "Let's see what you can do without your weapons," and then uses the whip to snap the sword out of his hand, which I thought was clever because you can't predict where a whip is going to go.
Yeah.
Even if he's going to hit him with it, he can't predict like he's not like I'm going to hit you from this angle or this angle.
He's not a vampire killer.
No, but it's so badass. Like the Batman's posing, he's like throwing his arm up over his head, and it's like snap, and it has like this big like action thing right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he looks pissed.
Yeah. Like, it's great. Okay, correction. He is a vampire killer, but he hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you so much for listening. Next episode is going to be Batman number 10, Story 3, A Princess of Plunder.
Catwoman.
And I thought we were done with that, like, ugly ass.
No, it's still back.
It's back.
Maybe this is the last appearance of it.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm excited.
Ugly ass mask, not her ass.
Her ass is so ugly.
Yeah. Detective Comics number 71, A Crime a Day.
Joker.
And then we will also be we'll be doing a Christmas special as we covered earlier. So thank you so much for listening. Write us a review on whatever podcatcher of your choice, whatever you listen to us on. Thank you so much. Good night.
See you later.